guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I'm going to be checking out Castlevania for the Commodore 64. Now this game is obviously a lot more popular on the Nintendo NES. Most people that have played this game probably did play it on the Nintendo. But during that time, like it does say copyright 1990, so we're going back to the early 90s. A lot of the games that came out on the Nintendo were also ported out onto a lot of the computer systems that people still played during those days. And of course, Commodore 64 was no exception. I actually remember my friend bringing this game home, and we started playing it a lot. And actually, I remember borrowing it off him for a while and playing it until I completed it. Now, this is probably the only time I've ever completed a Castlevania game. Well, Castlevania 1, I should say. I have beaten the second and the third one on the Nintendo, but I've never beaten this one on the Nintendo version. And when I say that to a lot of people, they're like, I didn't even know the Commodore 64 had this game. And it was interesting because not only did it have this game, but it was the only game I remember ever seeing, and it must have existed, but I mean, there's the only one that I remember seeing, where it came with a little code book, and inside there was all these different codes that when you booted the game up, you had to type that little code in, or else you couldn't get past that screen. Kind of like the very first anti-piracy type of thing that they came up with. And it was done on this kind of reddish paper, this dark red paper, which I'm assuming made it really difficult to photocopy. So it was really interesting that you had to have that, so you couldn't just copy this onto a disc and then just give it to your friends. I'm sure people figured out ways around it and all that stuff. But anyways, let's get to playing this. And I just want to play a little bit and show you how it is. And you'll probably know how different it is from the Nintendo version. I mean, graphically that looks similar, but the sound was a little bit different. Definitely not the same sound that you get on the Nintendo. That's okay. And it's going to go to the second screen here. This is another thing that makes it different. Obviously, there's a continuous save game option, which you wouldn't have had on the Nintendo. So, I mean, that's probably why I was able to complete this game when I was a kid, because I was probably able to save it and then keep going back, right? So I'm just going to start a new game. Now, you can do that today, obviously, with emulation on the Nintendo, but officially, there was no saving in the game. There we are. We got Simon Belmont right there. They did a pretty good job making it look like Castlevania. And of course, when I played it back then, that was at a time where I remember me or my friend, we did not have a Nintendo at that time. So being able to play this game on the Commodore was really cool. And of course, the jumping is different. And I kind of had this conversation a little bit on my video I did with Zorro for the Commodore 64. And I was talking about how, the jump is not the jump button on the fire button or the action button, but actually pushing up. Which does kind of screw me up right now, because I am so used to wanting to hit that button to jump, that I'm not able to accurately play this game right now. Probably when I was a kid I got used to it because I didn't have a Nintendo, and it was natural for me to push up on a lot of games, especially that had two actions, like doing like that, throwing a dagger or throwing a whip. Now, the other thing is that makes it difficult is because the jump button and the ability to throw, well, I should say on the Nintendo, the up button is how you would throw your secondary weapon. This is not the same. This one you actually hold down the fire button a little bit longer. So to use the whip, you just tap the button. To use the weapon, you have to hold the button down a little bit longer. So again, a little bit different, and if I wanted to play this game, to try and complete it again, I'd really have to get used to the button switches. And it's kind of like on the Nintendo Switch. I downloaded that Castlevania think it's the Anniversary Edition or something, where it gives you the first game, the second game, third game, fourth. It gives you a whole bunch of Castlevania games, but the buttons are different. Like I think the way they laid it, mapped the buttons, I should say. It's reverse of what it is on the Nintendo, which was throwing me off a lot as well, because I got used to playing this on the Nintendo, and now I'm playing it on my Nintendo, or I should say the NES, or the first generation Nintendo, versus playing it on the Switch, where now the buttons were opposite. So it was kind of throwing me off there. This is the same issue where the up, to jump is really going to throw me off, because I know I'm going to hit that button, the action button, thinking I'm going to jump, and that's not going to happen. I mean, but otherwise, I think they did a pretty decent job. I don't know if it's... I can't recall if it had this flickering problem that I'm starting to notice, or if it's because I'm doing this on a PC and not an actual Commodore 64. I don't have the discs for this anymore. My friend had it. I never had it. Something tells me even if I did have the disc for it, I probably wouldn't have that little booklet, so I wouldn't even be able to play the game. Oh, I'm playing so horrible. Yeah. They give you that little cross thing right there at the exit where you don't need it anymore. It's really just there for points, I guess. Oh, look at him. It's like flashing and stuff. The whole screen is flashing. Oh, here comes that bat. Oh, okay. Yeah. See, here's where another problem is, because you have to hold the button down for a couple of seconds, it kind of makes it hard to rapidly throw that weapon. Ugh. What was that all about? But I think overall, I think they really just copied the game. I don't think there's anything different about this one. I mean, aside from, minor little graphic differences and, obviously the controls. If the Commodore 64 had a joystick that had the 2-button capabilities, probably wouldn't have happened this way, but man, I'm having a hard time here. Okay. There we go. I think I'm having a harder time, I don't know why, but I'm having a hard time jumping and whipping at the same time. I think because I keep mixing up the buttons. But looks like all the secret spots are all the same. Probably not a lot of differences outside of that, Did a good job actually just, recreating the game. Another one I want to hopefully try one day is, there is a homebrew for the Intellivision called Intellivania, which looks really cool. I remember a long time ago I downloaded the programmer put up a kind of like a test ROM, or he was still working on it, and just for people to check it out, and I tried, but it wasn't working on my whatever emulator I was using at the time. So, well, I guess it's still the same emulator I'm using today. So, wasn't able to check it out. But I know that now the game is has been completed. I believe it's completed, and it's for sale now. So I think I've seen pictures of it. I'm not sure if it's got all the levels or if it's any different. I'm not 100%. I haven't actually been able to see the game. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm having a hard time on this one. But it is cool to, be able to play Castlevania on a Commodore 64. Just like that Super Mario Brothers ROM that I downloaded that someone actually did copy Super Mario Brothers onto the Commodore 64. And of course it had the same thing with the up button being the jump. Oh. Nintendo really spoiled us back then when they said, here, have a joystick with 2 buttons. Now, I know obviously the Intellivision had like 30 buttons or whatever, but I mean, for arcade classics like this, we started to get used to always having 2 buttons thanks to Nintendo. And of course the Intellivision, it didn't always utilize all the buttons that it came with. Especially on some of these type of titles where it was like an arcade or some kind of classic, you know, copy of a game. Oftentimes it was just 1 fire button. Oh no! Damn. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty decent. Like I said, I probably was able to complete this a long time ago because first of all, I wasn't using a gamepad, I was using a joystick, but I was also used to the fact that the up was the jump, and I probably would have had a hard time if I had this on the Nintendo. I didn't actually have it on when I first got my Nintendo. The first Castlevania game I bought for it wasn't the first one, actually, it was the third one. I did play the second one on my friend's Nintendo, and I remember us trying to figure it out, and I don't think we got very far. I had to get one of those cheat books, or what do you call it? Dang, I can't even get past this guy. Keep getting... Okay, I just want to shoot him. Shoot him with that thing, there you go. This is weird, I'm not used to not being able to get past this point. There we go. Oh no, Medusa heads. These things are never fun. Probably missing everything here. Honestly, I don't know how the heck I completed this game. But I do remember completing it. It was like the RoboCop game for the Commodore 64. I hate those Medusa heads. I was able to complete it, I think, just once. And then after that, I was like, okay. That's it. Put it down. This game's too hard. I probably did the same thing with this. Once I completed it, I'm like, too hard. Oh, Dracula's Hall of Blame. That's cool. Okay. Start over or end? I'm gonna end. See? There we go. We can save the game. And that's actually part of the game, so you can't say it's cheating. Anyways, yeah, this is Castlevania for the Commodore 64. I knew I played this when I was a kid, and I was like, I wanted to try it again on the Commodore, just to give it a shot. Obviously, it's a much better game on the Nintendo. And there's been so many different Castlevania games that came out since then. Everybody's got their own favorites. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Throw some comments down below. Let me know what you think. Hope you subscribe, and talk to you later.